This episode is supported by Ring, because at the end of the day, your home is your sanctuary. And with Ring, it's protected. Whether you're across the house or across the country, keeping an eye on things shouldn't be a mystery. With the battery doorbell, you can keep track of your packages and see more of what's happening at your front door in real time. If you want to make sure your yard is safe at night, the Outdoor Cam Plus delivers a wide field of view and enhanced video clarity with Retinal 2K video. And for the ultimate in detail, you can upgrade to 4K cameras and doorbells featuring Retinal Vision. It gives you ultra-clear footage that actually lets you zoom in without losing those important details. The Ring system is helpful every single day. Like a lot of us, most of our shopping is done online. There's a certain peace of mind that comes with knowing exactly when a package arrives while you're busy at work or running errands. It's not just about the technology. It's about the relief of knowing your home is secure. It's incredibly easy to set up, and it gives you that extra layer of protection for what matters most. Your door, your yard, your home, your peace of mind. With Ring, it's protected. Shop cameras, doorbells, and more right now at ring.com.
Brews and Banter.
Hi, Frank.
Hey, Roman, how are you?
I'm doing great. We have Jess. Welcome, Jess, to Brews and Banter podcast. You want to just quickly give us an introduction and we'll go from there?
Yeah. Hey, guys. I'm Jess, also known as Beer Babe Jess on social media. I'm a craft beer influencer, blogger, writer, and now author.
Yeah. So we were talking about, so you're sort of branching out. You're spreading your wings, right? There's or tentacles, whatever you want to call it.
I can't do just one thing.
It's good that you're, I mean, and it's, it's good to be diverse, but it's a unique sort of thing for us because we haven't talked to someone that's sort of in all of these different areas, right? And we got your book here.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for supporting. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We were reading your story here, and obviously it's shorter version, but we're going to get into longer version of it. And do you want to start on just to listeners, and they can also read this in the book, and they can get this on Amazon, correct?
Yes, the book is available on Amazon.
But what got you into beer, and how did the whole thing started?
Yeah, it's a great question. So when I was in college, I actually worked at a wine bar and I developed my palate there. I learned loads about wine and really dove right in and was really, really interested. And as my palate progressed, during that time, craft beer was, kind of coming to the forefront of the scene. And lucky for me, I was able to sample lots of different craft beers. And once I kind of realized how complex beer actually is and realized that all beer isn't just keg beer or baseball beer from parties or, sports games, I got really, really excited about it. Once I kind of discovered how barrel-aged beers tasted against beers that weren't aged in barrels, I started attending breweries and beer dinners, and things really took off from there. And I had, gotten really deep into the scene. I was trading beers. I was traveling and going to breweries all over the country, and decided that I wanted to put it all up online and launch my craft beer Instagram. So Beer Babe Jess was born in 2018. I started a blog. I launched some t-shirts, pins, glassware, all the merch, and things just kind of picked up from there. It's opened a lot of doors and a lot of opportunities. So I'm definitely grateful to be a part of the community and now to be able to pull loads of folks in the industry together to put this book together.
Sure.
Yeah, we enjoyed reading the stories. Some of the authors are followers on Instagram as well. It's nice to kind of hear their story, and we'll reach out to them as well. I think it's fun. I think people need to hear the stories. There's a portion in the book where you talked about pandemic, and so did other authors.
Right.
And we have a friend out in California, and he mentioned how they put together a group of friends that try to support brewers local breweries to help them survive. And we said, Anthony, that's a story that needs to be shared. Like it's amazing what you guys did and how you contributed to local community.
Are you familiar with Pie Cruiser on Instagram?
Gosh, it's not ringing a bell, but that doesn't mean that I don't follow them.
Sure.
It's funny. I didn't realize that Instagram will actually cut you off and not allow you to follow more than 7,500 people.
Yeah.
Because whenever somebody would follow me, I would always just follow them back. But now I had hit my limit, so I always have to it's become a lot to keep track of, unfortunately. But would love to hear that story, and I really like what you're mentioning about storytelling, because I think it really it is such a important part of culture and community. I like to think back to our ancestors many years ago, and they would sit around a fire and they would have generations of family and neighbors and people just telling stories and learning and sharing. And I think that that's something that folks are really leaning into and really need. And so this is such a great opportunity to get people together to share just a little snippet of their world as their own story.
Yeah, it's different now with the digital age. I mean, everybody's buried into something that's not an organic conversation without some sort of electronic device, right? So it's as you say, you hang out and you get to talk to people. You get to have more personalized conversations, more direct sort of interaction, and there's a period of time where it went away, right? But now I think there's a lot more people realizing that is not. What it used to be is not what it was, and now they hope to get back to, right? So it's interesting to see that.
There's something to be said about the nostalgia of holding a book in your hand, turning the pages, having it on your coffee table, or bringing it into a bar, bringing it on an airplane. I think that folks are kind of, for lack of a better word, homesick for that sort of bygone era where everything wasn't completely digital. So it's a really kind of interesting time to be able to see our words in print.
Yeah, because we're a society based on instant gratification. I mean, that's what digital. It's on your phone. It's something you can carry that's a half-inch thick or less or something like that. But I get it. But there's a lot that's missed, I think, with as you say, having a book in your hand or something tangible. That's something we were used to prior to current age.
Like you said, Jess, the nostalgia of a book, feeling the paper, the smell of it. It's better for your eyes too. It's blue light constantly in your eyes and affect your sleep, or depending on when you're reading the book. We spend enough time in front of devices, right? It's nice to actually pick up. Actually, part of the book I was reading today, we had a short road trip to Pennsylvania. We had to get back here on time so we could record this. But part of the drive, I was just reading the book,
And thank you for the QR codes, by the way.
Yeah, that's so nice.
That's fucking fantastic.
You like that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great because it's again instant access, but not digitally, but you can still get it right. With your phone. But how cool is it to be able to connect with someone or something just from there instead of going and searching? And so, thank you for that. Right.
Yeah, I can't take credit for it. The team at Rethink Everything really thought of everything, and they. I think it's such a great way to carry folks along through the story. And again, to your point, without having to search. So you can follow them or look at their website or, take a look at their, friend them on LinkedIn or whatever it is. It's such a great way to sort of round out people's contact info.
Mm-hmm, sure.
And the Rethink Everything, is that the publisher or is that your publication?
So the Rethink Everything team is comprised of someone named Kyle Draper. He has conceptualized the full series of the Rethink Everything books. So this is the 13th book, I believe. And his goal is actually 300 books in this series. Oh. So if you think about that from perspective of the sky's the limit, essentially. He's really, really excited to, bring in folks who are subject matter experts in all kinds of interesting places, right? So I actually was invited to write a chapter in Rethink Everything You Know About Networking. And my chapter was called The Power of Unhinged Authenticity. I actually wrote about how I built my following and how I sort of launched my Instagram. And my chapter was definitely a unique one because it was a lot of corporate folks talking about their experiences, and how they've, built their contacts as well. And we were at a book release party, of course, at a brewery for the networking book. And Kyle Draper came up to me and told me that he was really interested in my chapter and that what did I think about writing Rethink Everything You Know About Beer. So I basically just looked at him and told him he can consider it written. I knew I wanted to take this project on. I knew that it was, a perfect match for me because I'm a copywriter. I work in marketing, advertising. I've been a writer my whole life. I got my master's in creative writing. So I knew this would be great. So, I pinged all my industry friends and bugged the heck out of them until I got about 20 or so folks to nod their head yes and write their chapter to be a part of the book. So
Nice.
Really, really excited. And, Kyle's books so far are, the range is really interesting. It's Rethink Everything You Know About social media, Rethink Everything You Know About buying a home. So this is an outlier, and I think it's a fun one for him because it's so different. And he has expressed to me on his podcast that he's very grateful that this one came out into the world because it kind of opens the door for anything goes now. So
right. I rethink everything I know about Roman every day.
Yeah.
And things I don't want to know about
Roman. Too much time together today.
Overanalyzing, critical thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tend to sometimes not criticize him, but like if he doesn't do certain things that I think would be better, I was like, maybe we could have done this differently.
So basically, if it's not his way, that's that.
It's just a constructive criticism.
Yeah, I get it.
Always looking to improve.
Yeah,
that's what makes you guys a good team.
So Jess, you made a big decision to move from Chicago to San Diego, and I think when we first connected, you were still in Chicago, and it was probably months later when you started that transition to San Diego. How was that experience to kind of leave everything behind and move into the new state, new city?
I'd be lying if I said it was amazingly perfect. I would, it was really tough for me to leave all my family, all my friends, and pretty much everything I knew in Chicagoland. I'm very close with my little sister, and she's now a mom. So it was really tough to sort of pick up everything and go. But I would say it's probably the best decision I've made. I think, it got me out of my comfort zone. I've met all kinds of new friends out here because of beer. Mm-hmm. I'm lucky enough to have met some really wonderful, wonderful Instagram friends who became real friends. I might have cried as I crossed over through the Denver mountains. But being here now in San Diego, it's a special, special town. And it's a wonderful place to be. I'm blessed every day to be here. And, Chicago can't get rid of me that easily. I come back about 3 times a year. So
nice.
Very lucky to have the best of both worlds, I'll say.
Yeah, Chicago is beautiful. I was there a few years back. My wife's niece was getting married, and we did like a river tour, and we went on Lake Michigan, did a tour over there as well. It was nice. It's such a nice scene. So many awesome restaurants and breweries. There's a lot. Like you got to go there multiple times to get full experience.
It's I always say that after I leave Chicago, I come back and I've gained at least 5 pounds because the food is so good and the beer is my favorite beer in the country is in Chicago. So, I got to always soak it in while I'm there.
Mm-hmm. But you get to enjoy a lot of sun in San Diego, right?
That's what it's about. Yeah. Lots of hiking, lots of sunshine, lots of palm trees, Mediterranean climate. So it's never really too hot or too cold. So it's usually pretty just mild and, walk on the beach. We were able to go to the beach on Christmas, so I'll take it. Yeah, it's a great city, and there's a lot of transplants, so there's good diversity of people, and great beer scene, great food. Um, yeah, and what's not to love? It's a great place.
Yeah.
I wish I could bring everyone from Chicago that I love here.
Hmm. When we make big decisions like that in our life and changes, I feel like our spouses are the best support, like the biggest supporters.
Hmm.
And I'm sure your husband was super supportive and helpful, and you need someone that close to support that, to make that transition easier, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. San Diego is definitely in his soul. And the first time he brought me out here, I looked at him and was like, I don't want to go back. So made the decision pretty easy. Very blessed to be able to work remote and make it all kind of happen. And you know, have folks as well who are willing to fly out once in a while, so I can get my people fixed too.
And we're at 36 degrees, now in March, and that's why I want to move to San Diego.
It's a tease. It's a tease. I feel like you guys it'll warm up and then it'll be cool. Like I was just in Chicago, it was 75 and then it was
Wow.
40. And I'm like, okay.
You're exactly right. I mean, 2 weeks ago there was a couple 70-degree days, and then it snowed like 6 inches 2 days later. I'm like, I don't really know. Everybody gets sick, and you're all pasty white, and it's just really. And we choose to live here.
Yeah. Well, it's. I mean, it's something to be said about having the seasons too.
Yeah.
So,
how did the beer community welcome you in San Diego?
I was really blessed. I when I had first gotten out here, my friend Christine, she runs Women's Craft Beer Collective. Her and Allie and Callie were hosting a meetup, and I had only known them obviously from Instagram. And we were being hosted at Solaris. They do some really amazing like blends, some wild like sours, really great stuff up in North County. And there was a whole group that had gotten together. Our friend Jason at Hop Garage, lots of folks were there, and they invited me to come. And I met them in real life, and we bonded. And they couldn't get rid of me since. So they've invited me to Christmas with their families, and they've invited us to baseball game. I mean, we're all so lucky that we became real friends. And, from there it was great. I really, when I'm in a new city, I really like to go to breweries and just sit at the bar and talk to folks who work in the industry. And that sometimes leads to like finding some of the hidden gems and the best food and like the best dive bars and like little cool spots. So, in the first year or so, I was saying yes to pretty much everything. I was going to all kinds of, women's brew days and pink boots events and festivals. And I kind of burnt myself out, and I had to take a pause and realize that like, okay, I can't do it all. Beer's not going anywhere. So, I had to kind of reassess what I was up to and what I was doing, and make sure that I was taking care of myself. I remember one Women's Month. That's usually my really big month is March. I'm always doing the most. And I remember one time I was getting on a podcast with some friends, and I had this horrible migraine, and I was like, okay, I gotta, find some balance here. And I did, and it's been really great. But yeah, very, very lucky to be, welcomed here, and have those friends that, like I said, have become more than just beer friends. So
you talked about this in the book. I don't want to spoil it too much, but I'm just gonna
spoil it.
Little,
Cliff notes, right?
You did say how great of a community it is. People in the beer industry is not just enthusiasts, but they're friends and community. And when we started this 3 years ago, we found this out pretty quick. I think part of this why we decided to start inviting guests and hearing stories that I think are important to share. And with today's digital world, we can share this around the world. We found out how this community is and how they support each other. we attended a Beer Babes launch of the beer. So
Cool.
we drove out to Dewey Beach,
Delaware, yeah.
Delaware, and we're there for one of the launches at Big Oyster Brewing Company. And, it was nice to be part of it. So all these people you follow on Instagram, now you are meeting them in person and finding out how great they are and how supportive they are. So the community part of it, we try to also bring it to a local level here and be part of the community here. In a small town we are, and supporting all the brewers we can out here. And it reflects that throughout the country. And I think we spoke to Anthony, and I said, when I was done reading your book, I said, how nice would it be to do a documentary and just drive around the country and hear people's stories?
You were talking to me about that.
Yeah, I talked to you, but
I think it was on Anthony.
No, but Anthony was. And to hear these stories in person. And, these are amazing stories in the book. And there are so many out there. To be able to reach the point, to have that opportunity to take that drive and collect these stories, to hear them and share them. I think it's great. So
but the experience for everybody, like the people participating and then the people, kind of putting the story together, it's not just limited to, one or the other.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've had conversations like that too. My mother-in-law is actually a documentarian. And so we've talked about how could we, really dig into not only the community, but also just like the underground culture of craft beer. I mean, just like waiting in bottle release lines and bottle shares, just like there's so much that I think sort of this like underground world that like only the real OG beer nerds really, kind of have experienced,
Yeah.
Sure.
So don't take anything off the table. I mean, I think there's a lot to be uncovered. There's a lot to be shared, and storytelling, I think, like I said, is such a beautiful thing. And I think it's, I think we need that as creatives and as humans. We need to share our stories. We need to, leave our mark and open up that side of things, I think especially after a lot of folks experience being kind of lonely during COVID and missing their friends or family or neighbors or what have you in their communities or coworkers, it's like we kind of realize like, hey, like this is really meaningful stuff, like sharing, flying or driving all over the country and being able to share a beer with someone you've only met once on the internet, right? It's kind of it's the ultimate connector, and that's kind of how I frame it up. Is beer is such a connector, and some of the best memories have come from being a part of that culture and community.
Yeah, beer and food.
Yeah, or beer doesn't judge, right? Like it doesn't care. It doesn't care who's drinking it. Like you can get everybody together and you can have fun. And same, like you said, with food, right? It's just it's all sort of familial or
well, it's people
communal.
You can sit at the table with, strangers, families, friends, and have a beer, have a meal, and have a conversation. And you said this earlier. Our ancestors used to tell stories around fire. That's how this podcast actually started. We were sitting around fire with friends and family and talking, and one thing led to another. People were like, you guys should start a podcast. And it was on the back burner for a little while, and we started.
No, when back burner, it means like we were probably hammered when they said it, and we just didn't remember it a couple years later.
Goes, right?
And and then when Frank reached out and said, let's do it, and it was just two of us, but then I felt like we were missing something. Like we started this by sitting around fire, telling stories. I love hearing people's stories. I love meeting new people, building networks, right? To some people who are uncomfortable appearing in front of others or being in person or getting out of their comfort zone, stepping into that new circle, new community who can understand you and talk to you and make you feel welcoming. And it sets you on the right path. Like it kind of frees that burden, right? And that's why I said, let's hear more stories. There are millions out there.
I love that.
Yeah, we had this woman. Her name is Jessica Cox, and she is armless pilot, the only woman in the world who can fly an airplane with no arms.
Oh
And
my gosh.
how amazing is that?
Mhm.
And to have that privilege to sit with her and talk for an hour. And she's like, yeah, I can open a bottle with my feet. And she does it.
She does it, right? She pours a beer. Right? It wasn't beer. It was water, right?
No, some beverage. But she poured it in a beer mug, a glass heavy beer mug, and lifted up and cheers with us. And, it's stories like that. They're inspiring.
Absolutely.
They're amazing. And reading the book and reading these stories and reading how you got into the beer community and the things that have helped you and changed you. And I love what you said. When you first got into the beer community, it was a bunch of men with beards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
After Shock Top, right?
And
oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of shock top going around. There's like, what did orange slices ever do to us? But we like that was it. It was
Orange slices matter. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it was like the wits and the wheats and all the hefts and all that stuff, and lots of Belgians. But when I first started getting into it, I knew. So I talk a little bit about how I know what it's like to feel like you don't belong, and I think that is a universal feeling that if you really reach deep down, everyone can relate to some degree, and I never wanted anyone to feel like that. So I think you kind of see a lot of sameness in the craft beer world, and since then it's obviously grown, and there's loads of women in the industry and loads of women groups, and we have Pink Boots and we have different clubs and societies, and Girls Pine Out, and it's a really great thing. But I just I thought to myself, like, the best part about community is how diverse it is, because you learn so much, right? So like having diverse friends from all over the world, different, experiences, different walks of life, I get to learn. So it's very much like I get to grow and learn because I'm better because I know all these folks, right? Like I'm blessed in that regard. And it was like, okay, how can we build tables together? It's not me building it, right? How can we build these tables together? And I started getting invited to, different diversity panels and different diversity beer festivals. And it's, beer festivals for women, for breast cancer. I mean, it's been really amazing just to see what these folks have done and what they've created. And I just get to be along for the ride and, post on social media. Like, I'm just hanging out. I mean, they're the ones, doing amazing stuff, but it's really cool. And it's, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the story of the hummingbird, but it's an old folklore. Essentially, there's a forest fire and all the animals are fleeing. And this hummingbird goes and takes a drip of water from the lake and brings it back to the fire, drip by drip. He's trying to help put out the fire. And the other animals ask him, what are you doing? Like, you're just bringing one drop, like you're a tiny hummingbird. And the hummingbird says, I'm doing what I can. So it's sort of this like platform for me. That story inspired me because I was like, if I can just make a teeny little drop of a difference, bring folks together, make people feel like they're involved and they matter and they belong and they know about beer. And even if they don't have to. You don't have to have degrees. You're not, but you're you're not better or worse off. Like
Mm-hmm.
you belong. You know, that's why I made the beer babe shirts. Like we're all beer babes. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
a certified beer babe because you love beer. There's no, you know, so it was
Yeah.
like, it's just, I'm doing what I can. And it's sort of that idea of like bringing drops of water, but it's really in the regard of like shining a light on breweries and, you know, small businesses and people in the industry who are doing great stuff and amazing beer and all that cool, great events, great parties,
Mm-hmm.
all that great stuff.
Yeah.
So
Act of that hummingbird is an inspiration as well. So if you're doing what you can, one driplet of water at a time, it inspires other to step in and do the same. You know, that
mm-hmm.
driplet of water becomes a cup of water or whatever, right?
Right.
So it inspires other to do as well. And I think what you got maybe out of your comfort zone and had to do something, and you know, you be that hummingbird, maybe inspired others as well. And maybe you don't know
I
that,
appreciate that.
you know, but I think it makes a difference. We've had feedback from some of the listeners that messaged us and said, I love how diverse and different your podcast is. I don't know who the guest is going to be and what you guys are going to talk about. We've had a message from someone who said, you know, I love the guest you had who does private workout programs. I don't feel comfortable in my body to be in the public gym. But thank you so much. We got in contact with this person, and that's who we're working out with now. So it's these little things, right? Like these droplets of water.
Yes. You know, making changes, you
Yeah.
know, little by little and helping other people, you know, connect with other people too.
Mhm.
Right. So it's sort of like, you know, I think having any kind of platform, I think it's really important to find a way to be that connector or to be that hummingbird,
Mhm.
whatever that looks like. That doesn't, you know, it looks different to every single person. But if you do have a platform, I think it's important and it's very fulfilling to say, like, you know, here's how I want to add value.
Mhm.
Right. And it doesn't have to be like everyone else either. I think sometimes people put a lot of pressure on influencers or people on social media that they have to do certain things and, you know, post certain things. And it's like,
Mhm.
you know, honestly, if you're just a good human and you're spreading light on the daily and you're, you know, upholding your moral code and you're being a good human and you're, you know, I think it's like, that's enough and that's great. But I think it's also like, okay, how can I, you know, help others in like these
Mhm.
little minuscule ways, which like for you guys is like being that connector and being sort of the conduit for people to explore
Yeah.
all kinds of stories from all kinds of people all over the world, you know, that may influence their lifestyle or their health or, you know, anything. It's a
Yeah.
great thing.
Someone might be thinking to themselves, gosh, am I the only one who feels this way? Or am I the only one who's stuck in these ways? You know, but then they'll have an opportunity to hear someone else's story on platforms like these and other many podcasts out there, and be like, you know, I'm not the only one. Let me reach out to them.
Yeah, just to know there's some support there, right?
And huge
Absolutely.
credit to all of people who are willing to be authentic and to go on podcasts and these shows and really tell the truth and reality. You know, it's hard for some to come out of that shell. You know, we had a woman who, um, it's on, gosh, she is a murder suicide. Her husband took his life and took her daughter, and for her to have the power to come on a podcast and to talk about that, because there's probably others who dealt with something like this, and she's reaching out and saying, contact me, I'm here for you.
Wow.
That's huge, you know, like I have goosebumps.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
tough to
Brave.
So to do that, and when you just shared that hummingbird story, it's so relatable, right? It's those driplets of water that's spreading. I love that analogy.
Yeah, and we can't put out the whole forest fire, can we? Right? We can't save everyone, and we can't be a hero, but we can.
No.
You know, I love just that line. It's like I'm doing what I can.
Mhm.
So, you know, if you go to sleep every night knowing that, hey, I'm doing what I can, then you've won, right?
Yeah.
Like how do you measure success?
Mhm.
And for me, it's, you know, I really do believe in the power of inner peace. So if I feel that I am at peace with myself and who I am, and when I look in the mirror every day and who I am inside, then like that, that's success to me. You know, some
That's
people
good.
it's, you know, a certain bank account number or things or travel or job title, but it's like if you can have peace with like who you are and what you're doing and the influence, you know, that your heart, the difference that your heart makes in the world, even if it's just one or two people, like
Mhm.
then that's success, I think.
Yeah.
It's a lot like an equation. Everybody doing what they can. So there's a hummingbird. That hummingbird, as Rowan says, leads to some other animal maybe helping. And then maybe you get some big ass elephant throwing a whole bunch of water somewhere.
I
And then
love it.
and it keeps going. Like now you get to these helicopter pilots that are dumping big things of water on a forest fire. Like everything matters, right?
It comes together.
Nothing is too small. Like it's just the effort that people put in. As you say, at the end of the day, if you feel fulfilled with what you did and you did as much as you can, then that's a success. You know.
Yeah. And that circles right back to the power of community, right? So
Yep.
it's all connected.
Jess, we see on your Instagram sometimes when you go out to restaurants and doing the influencer part of it, and we see your husband around. How much of a role has he been playing? I'm sure he's been very supportive and there when you need him.
Is it by choice or by default? Right.
he is he is the most beautiful support that I could ever imagine. He is the most wonderful being I've ever met. I'm so blessed that he's my best friend and partner. He actually, in the very beginning, he was very much saw where this could go even bigger and I could just go ham. And I kind of told him, I don't want that kind of notoriety. I don't want to like completely monetize my account. I didn't want to play big in a space where like there was potential. I mean, I don't know, like he saw like where this could go and but he understood. He's like, he understands like I'm doing it. It's not all for me, I guess if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it's not all about me, but it's about the community and he is like, he's not on social. So, people will get a glimpse here and there, but, he did write a chapter because he is industry. So
yeah, it is in the book. Yeah.
Chapter 13. So, he's a great, every time we have an event, we come home, on our way home, he says, everybody loves the babe.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to ignore our significant others. We wanted to make sure we say thank you to, may I say his name? Michael.
Yeah, Mike.
He's in the book, so I figured I'm not crossing the line here.
Not at all.
And while driving and reading the book, actually, Frank has a favorite line from you.
Yeah, pour it forward. Yeah.
Oh, my deer name. Yeah.
Pour it forward.
Yeah.
So we've been saying it all day.
Yeah, all day today, right? We're just saying everybody.
So
that beer was made for proceeds went to women who were affected by domestic violence.
Mm-hmm. But even now, it's just instead of pay it for, aside from the beer piece of it, we're just instead of pay it forward, pour forward.
Pour it forward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because we're not just brews and banter, whatever. We can have water, we can have whiskey, we can have coffee. Who gives a shit, really? I mean, we're just here to talk to interesting people and people that make an impact at any level. It doesn't matter what anybody's doing, and we're open. We have we're booked up. We have a lot of people, and like Roman said, it's diverse, but it doesn't matter to us. We'll just talk to anybody about anything.
I love that.
And we like to travel.
Yeah.
We can bring our podcast remote. So that's the best part of it too.
Oh, it's so cool. Absolutely.
But we're lucky enough like you to be able to do this, because it started off as just like we both don't half-ass anything. We own businesses. We do things right. And, we like to think we're good people. when it's just us two, we're just not good people. but family, things like, we understand. We're morally correct, and it's a way for us to be able to help as well. I mean, we're the little droplet that we can provide to whatever or whoever needs us to provide it, or at least help do that.
I love that. Yes, I love that. Giving other folks like a voice, which is such a wonderful thing.
Yeah, because as you know, it's not easy to do. I mean, if you're public, and we've got all these videos, all the social media stuff, it's when you're out there, and some people just don't like doing that. But even the work it goes into doing that, right? So we're in a position now where there's a lot of work up front. We did it, and we're in the spot we are now. So the upfront work is done. Now it's just the maintenance. So now we have this platform to be able to help other people that don't want to put in the upfront work, but we can sort of help their cause, autism from bowling or whatever it may be, and people help promote their businesses and or their causes or whatever. People just want to talk. People just want to some people just come out, we'll just talk. I mean, there's no, because as you know, you're here now. We don't script anything. It's all organic conversation, and some people will just come on and just want to talk to us about anything. I mean, it's really that. It was an awkward thing at the beginning, but now we're like comfortable with it. We just make it work, right?
I think it builds skills to talk to anyone, and I love, that's one of the best things. If I had to say what I take out of this podcast venture, it would be how easy and comfortable it has made for me to approach anyone and just have a conversation.
That's great.
But it's enjoyable as well.
Yeah.
So, and we get to
Jess, you mentioned about trip you're organizing to
Munich.
Yes.
Can you share more about that and who it's open to, and how, if anyone wants to join?
Yeah. So, Tour Hero is a company that partners with influencers. And essentially they reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to host a trip, and Munich was the first place that came to mind.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, it's a really great setup. They essentially plan everything for you, and it's just your job to market the trip and to have a specific number of signups. And so we surpassed the minimum number of signups, which is great. Nice. So there will be 8 of us going over to Munich at the end of April. To just experience the culture, the beer, the food, and just it's open to anyone and everyone. Solo travelers, we have a couple coming. Really excited I fly out on my birthday, April 20th, because I'm gonna stop in Prague for a couple of days first. And then we'll be in Munich on April 24th. So
what a great experience.
Really, really excited about this, hoping that it's as wonderful as it's been so far, so that potentially I could do this once a year and host folks to different cities across the world.
So there's still spots open for people to sign up.
Yes, I don't think it's closed yet. Okay. I've been so wrapped up in the book, I need to double check my dates, but yes, I believe folks can still join us if they'd like. If not, stay tuned and I'll share information about the next trip.
So what I'm hearing is Brews Banter 2027. Is that what you're getting at, Roman?
Yeah.
But I'll be looking forward to seeing all the posts and updates on social media.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Do you want to add anything else that you think maybe we've missed?
Gosh, no, I think that's like pretty much everything. I mean,
awesome.
I'm really grateful for the opportunity to talk about the book. I'm so glad you're enjoying the story. That's kind of like a peek into all kinds of different worlds, which I kind of love. And yeah, I'm just excited to keep the momentum going strong now that we've had 3 book launch parties, and there is chatter of one more, but we'll see if that comes to fruition.
You wrote another book before this one. It was called Rethink Marketing, I believe, right?
Networking.
Yeah.
And this is your second book.
Yeah. So in that one, I contributed a chapter. My friends Lindsay and Liz headed that one up. So I contributed a chapter in that one. And then I also edited that one because I have the copywriting background. So I was an editor as well. So, it's funny. Kyle Draper asked me, okay, you want to write another book? And I'm like, okay, I need a minute. Like, I'll let me get back from, Munich. Let me get some rest and we'll see. So if I were to write another one, it would likely be more focused on, like my day job. So my corporate marketing, advertising, that kind of stuff. So we'll see. No plans quite yet.
Is there Rethink podcasting?
I don't think so yet. So message me on the side. I can always introduce you guys to Kyle. Like I said, he's looking to write 300 books. So no topics are off the table.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was driving today. So like, aside from audiobook, it was me, Roman, reading the book to me.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
It was fantastic.
We're actually recording the audio right now. So
it was great.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
No, it's really easy read.
Yeah, it is.
And every story, when it ends, it's like, oh, what's the next one about?
Yeah.
It keeps that excitement.
Very well done. Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. I'm so glad you like it.
Absolutely. So go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, we had such a great group. So it's really, they really, pour their hearts into it. So that made it what it was.
Yeah. Passion makes everything really succeed. I mean, even if it's not a success in some order, some sort of, monetarily or whatever it is, there's at least a success that you feel for doing it. Right.
100%.
Yeah. The effort.
Passion projects through your finished work as well.
Yeah. I love that. That's great.
So people can get this book on Amazon. Is there any other place they can buy it? Is there any in stores, or is it exclusively on Amazon?
It's exclusively on Amazon. We are open to talking to any breweries who would like to carry it as part of their merchandise in their breweries. So we're in talks with a couple of places. We also have a couple of local bookstores that we're going to have some conversations with. But as of right now, it's available on Amazon. I will be I was invited to the San Diego Beer News Awards. So I will have a tent and be set up with books there. If any listeners are in San Diego and want to attend next week, I will be selling books on site.
Perfect.
Absolutely should. And then how about contact information and social media name to people reach out and follow?
100%. It's just all at Beer Babe Jess on Instagram and TikTok, and then beerbabejess.com and beerbabejess@gmail. So I try to keep it really simple.
Yeah.
And you have a blog? Yeah. You still going up with the blog?
Yep. beerbabejess.com/blog. You can find all kinds of travel recommendations for different cities and different breweries all over the country, essentially. So I'll be excited to share my Munich blog once we're back.
We're excited to see, hear or read that, and also see the pictures.
Yeah, we're looking forward.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, just stay tuned for just a second. I just want to say thank you to our sponsors, East Brewing Company, for sponsoring this podcast. They are a local brewer. Actually, we're drinking their beer, so thank you guys. I want to say thank you to Apex Property Management and FM Realty Group for all your real estate needs, and of course, Hopped Up Network. For
Good job, you didn't forget them.
I didn't forget this time. And of course, Jess, thank you so much for taking time. I love that we've connected so long ago, and we actually get a chance, an opportunity to talk to you face to face, maybe sometime in person.
I love that. Yes.
2027 trip, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Or if you just need to come west,
Right.
can show you around the breweries out here. Yeah, be a great time.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Head to Safeway this week and enjoy these amazing click or clip deals from the weekly mailer, or download them from the Safeway app to breeze through checkout. Mix and match items, buy 2, get 3 for free when you buy 5 items. Items like Oscar Mayer bacon, Kraft mayo, Kraft singles cheeses, and Capri Sun juices. Selected varieties. Check with your local Safeway store for a full list of participating items. USDA Choice Boneless Beef Chuck Roast Mega Packs for just $5.99 per pound. Visit Safeway.com for more details. See you in the aisles.